Here's one of my favorite Dynasty Fantasy Football trade targets, who I feel like you might be able to buy low on because he hasn't been massively productive or consistent for fantasy football. And I feel like his price tag and value today is going to be a lot lower than what it will be in the future. And that man is Falcons wide receiver Drake London. 8th overall pick in 2022. In his final season at USC, Drake London averaged 11 receptions and 135.5 receiving yards per game. He had a very productive college career. Back when he was a freshman, he started on a team that featured Amon-Ra St. Brown and Michael Pittman Jr. In 2022 as a rookie, he earned 117 targets. He caught 72 of them for 866 receiving yards. He ranked 5th in target share, top 12 in yards per route run. London had games of 86, 95, 96, and 120 receiving yards in 6 weeks with 14-plus fantasy points. Then in 2023, we had Desmond Ridder getting benched, I believe, twice. And London earned 101 targets. He caught 65 of them for 864 receiving yards and only 2 touchdowns through 15 games. The issue in Atlanta has been the passing volume. In 2023, they currently rank 7th least in total passing attempts. And back in 2022, they ranked 2nd least in passing attempts. This season, it hasn't been phenomenal, but when Drake London has been given volume, he has produced well. 8 targets in week 2. He caught 6 of them for 67 receiving yards and a touchdown, 18.7 fantasy points. 9 targets in week 5. He caught 6 of them for 78 yards and 14.7 fantasy points. 12 targets in week 6. He caught 9 of them for 125 receiving yards and 21.5 fantasy points. 11 targets in week 14. He caught 10 of them for 172 receiving yards and 29.2 fantasy points. So you give the guy good volume, he produces well. Drake London has averaged 10.5 and 11.1 fantasy points per game the last 2 seasons. So in a lot of leagues, he might not have crazy value right now. There's been a lot of frustration for his usage and what he's brought for fantasy football on a week-to-week basis. But I am a firm believer in the talent. He has the build of an alpha wide receiver. He has a solid receiving resume. When given the volume, he has produced well, and it's translated to fantasy football. And I do believe the Falcons address the quarterback situation this offseason. And you might say, hey, I don't trust Arthur Smith even if they do, but I do think with a better quality quarterback comes better quality volume. Now is the time to buy Drake London before his production goes way up. I'd love to roster him in all of my Dynasty Fantasy Football leagues.